Omega heard you like the moon and you like watches, so they decided to put a moon phase in their Moonwatch. Hi everyone and welcome to Shah, Lusso, and yes, today we are talking about the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Moonphase. Now if you like these sorts of videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well so you know when every video comes out. So the Speedmaster Moonwatch Moonphase. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but it is one of the most interesting watches within the Speedmaster collection. Now the Speedmaster, of course, is the epitome of a tool watch. They literally took it to space and to the moon. Astronauts in Apollo 13 used it to time a rocket burn and actually saved their own lives. So its credentials as actually being used for purpose are pretty strong. Everything about its design, from its size to the black and white dial, the clear legibility, the robust, reliable movement, everything is about form following function. But in 1985, they decided to introduce something that wasn't really conducive to its purpose. They introduced a moon phase. And this quirky variation on the Speedmaster has continued throughout the years, even till this day. But today we're going to be talking about the 2001 till 2005 Speedmaster Broad Arrow Moonwatch with the moon phase. And it's a watch that you look at it and you think Omega was just asking themselves, what if we just made the Moonwatch a beautiful watch? The first thing you notice, of course, is the dial. Long before the Tokyo, the Alaska Project reissues, the two Snoopies that sport white dials, before the current 2024 white dial Moonwatch, this was already sporting a white dial back in 2001. And this immediately set it apart from the regular Speedmaster Professional. In addition, they didn't just invert the colors and make it black and white. The hands and the indices are all this nice blued rhodium, which really makes them pop. It's a little bit reminiscent as to what Cartier does with their blued hands, adding not really a function, but an air of sophistication to what is normally a very purpose-built watch. And then of course there's the biggest difference which you notice, which is the introduction of the moon phase and a pointer date. Courtesy of the Calibre 1866, this still has the same basic architecture as the Calibre 1861, which even still forms the underpinnings of today's Calibre 3861, but crucially with the difference of having a pointer date surrounding that fourth register at 12 o'clock and the moon phase. And while the pointer date adds even more practicality to this watch, albeit not something that's strictly relevant to when you're in space, the moon phase really adds a little bit of that romance and just emotion. It's an emotional complication that brings a little bit of a closer connection on the emotional side to the idea that this is a watch that is about the moon. And this carries out even into the other details, such as the broad arrow hands and the nice steel bezel, both of which hark back to the 1957 CK2915, a time when the moon was just a dream. Omega goes to such great lengths to market the Moonwatch and the moon landing and their connection to NASA, but in many ways just this one complication alone stirs out a lot more emotion than their constantly regurgitated repetitions of their achievements in space. But the moon phase itself evokes that same emotion in a way that's much more prominent than when they do their special editions that are covered with different mission patches or images of the moon. This really brings it home. You can follow the moon along your wrist in a way that no level of marketing or special editions will do. On paper, of course, the watch is very, very similar to the Moonwatch of its time. 42 millimeters, 50 meters of water resistance. It still has the crown guards, but when you have it on the wrist, it just looks and feels very, very different. For one thing, by having a steel bezel and a white dial, it does contain the watch a little bit more. When you have that black aluminum bezel and the black dial, it tends to open up the watch a bit more. By containing it, it does reduce a little bit of its wrist presence, even if that is sacrificing a bit of legibility. The additional sub dial also adds a lot more symmetry, and the blued accents also just add that pop of color to make it a little bit more interesting and a bit less clinical and functional. As for downsides, well, it shares pretty much the same ones that the regular Moonwatch has. The crown is very hard to grip because of the crown guards. It has a laughable water resistance for a modern watch. And if you consider that this is more of a look and feel watch, it would be nice if this actually had a see-through caseback. Interestingly, during the same time period, the black dial versions without the broad arrow did have a see-through caseback. But it does feel even more like a bit of a missed opportunity that they could have shown the movement especially when they knew to do it on some of their other ones at the same time period. More than anything though, this, like so many of the other watches that I feature on my channel, is a watch that really shows individuality. The regular Moonwatch is an amazing watch on paper. It's relatable, it's versatile, it has an interesting history, but its unanimous appeal also makes it very much an of the pack and everyone watch, which for some people can be great. But if you want something that reflects a level of individuality that emphasizes so much more the emotional connection one can have with a watch by a little bit of a sacrifice on the practicality in the interest of more visual excitement and beauty, this does offer a great proposition when you consider that also this probably won't hold its value like the regular Moonwatches, but because of that, it's generally more accessible than a lot of the other Moonwatches. So the Speedmaster Moonwatch Moonphase with the white dial, with the blue indices and the blue hands and the broad arrow, it just offers an opportunity to enjoy something that is truly distinctive from the tons and tons of variations of Speedmasters. So if it hits, it's really not a watch that you can go back from and go back to a standard Moonwatch. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below on what you think of this particular Speedmaster. There's so many Speedmasters out there. For everyone, there's a different one that hits. So I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts are. Of course, if you like this video, then make sure you like it and share it. If you want to see more pictures and infographics of watches, then make sure you follow me on Instagram at Shah Lusso. If you want to see more videos of watches, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well so you know when the next video comes out. But thanks for joining me on this quick exploration of one of the most interesting variations on the Moonwatch, and we'll catch you on the next video.